Hello and welcome to CNN World News at 5. I'm Caitlin.
And this is Daniel DeRosa.
So let's get started with America in World War II. When Japan attacked the U.S. at Pearl Harbor, revenge was the first thing on America's mind. However, Germany needed to be dealt with first because Hitler posed the greatest threat. FDR sent troops to Europe to deal with the Japanese. U.S. had troops and weapons, but they had been in isolation so long that they needed time to get supplies and things. National unity was strong as steel after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and ethnic groups assimilated faster due to this war. This meant that things were not looking so good for Japanese Americans in the Pacific, as they were taken into camps, which was deemed constitutional by the Katsuratsi U.S. case with their rights stripped away from them. However, the U.S. realized that they were wrong and that they paid $20,000 for the survivors in the camps. The war basically helped end depression as unemployment dropped to less than 2%. Only raw materials were needed, so all other productions were stopped by the War Production Board. As farmers made more food, it caused prices to soar, so the Office of Price Administration regulated the prices by rationalizing essential goods like butter. Labor unions started to strike during the war, even though they pledged not to do so. So the National War Labor Board set out to prevent these strikes. Women were enlisted in the war, but they were in non-combat roles. Also, Mexicans were working on the farms and factories. While most of the men were at war, women stayed at home, also in other workplaces, and their greatest icon was Rosie the Riveter. Here's more with Danny DeRosa.
Now, the women's glory in the workplace did not last long. Women were still paid less than men, and they had to return to their old days as housewives once the war was over. Many people migrated into new boom cities after the war. FDR used the war to give defense contracts to the South to try to revitalize it, but some blacks still left the South to get jobs in the North. Colored soldiers, on the other hand, enlisted in the war, but they were in segregated units. African Americans seceded in double victory campaign where they won against dictators overseas and racism at home. However, there was still a lot of discrimination they had to deal with. America was actually the only region whose economy started to rise after the war. As the FDR and the government, they tried to regulate it. The post-war economy started with the rise in national debt up to $330 million. In more related news, the USSR defeated the Germans in the battle at Stalingrad and started to advance. Stalin wanted more troops in Western Europe and the North American front, but Churchill and Roosevelt did not think they were prepared. So General Dwight D. Eisenhower set up an invasion of North America. With more on the story, here is Chief Journalist Jordan.
Thank you, DeRosa. Allies in the Italian campaign agreed to accept the surrender of the Axis-controlled North Africa. After Sicily was captured in the summer of 1943, Mussolini was forced to surrender. By September 1944, Allies freed France, Luxembourg, and Belgium from German control. FDR, or Franklin D. Roosevelt, was elected for his fourth term with his buddy/mate, Harry Truman. In the Battle of the Bulge, the Allies captured the first German town, and Germany received heavier losses than the Allies. Allies started liberating concentration camps in Germany, and on April 1945, Germany surrenders and Hitler commits suicide.
Thank you, Jordan, and I hope you find that interview. Oh, you did! Back to Jordan.
Oh, look, here we go. Okay, sir, how do you think, what are your feelings about World War II?
It was horrible. I was a lieutenant in the war, and I saved these Jews from a actual Nazi concentration camp.
So, was it very gruesome to see all those bodies, Jews, on the floor?
Yes, it was.
I see. Thank you for your time. All right, Daniel, back to you.
Thanks, Jordan. Recent news, FDR just died. So now we have Harry Truman as president. Now that Germany has been taken care of, now Americans wanted their revenge on Japan. General Douglas MacArthur led Allied forces against Japan. However, they were trapped in the Bataan Peninsula, so MacArthur was forced to abandon his troops. In more exciting news, a Japanese invasion was actually stopped. And this was the first time since Pearl Harbor, as US and Australian soldiers stopped the Japanese from entering Australia. Allies began getting closer to Japan after they won the Battle of Midway. The US and the Allies also captured the vital naval bases of Iwo Jima, reducing Japan's role in the war. The US just ended the war by dropping an atomic bomb on two cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
This is live footage of the planes that dropped the bomb on Nagasaki. And there is the explosion that happened. Look at that. That famous mushroom cloud, killing millions. Way to go, America.
This is Daniel Kahn with CNN News, signing out. Good night.